You will hear some of the words written and spoken by those slaves, and you will hear the words of those who call themselves masters. We cannot escape from the sound and acts of history. White, red, yellow, or black, you can never hide the past, not if you really want to understand the present. Now, why slavery? Why master? Why in America?
We didn't invent slavery. It's been part of civilization since one man first conquered another man.
Captain Philip Drake, slave trader.
Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, or the Africans themselves had both held and been slaves during the first few courses of history.
Before the African slave trade, slaves were usually prisoners of war or criminals paying their debts to society. They had certain rights by law and custom, could buy or work their way to freedom. Even the first black immigrants who came to Jamestown in 1619 could work their way out of bondage, buy land, vote, testify in court, work and walk equally with whites. Then something happened. Call it labor shortage, call it economic desperation. It tipped the balance, and for the first time in history, a group of people were singled out and denied those precious rights of humanity only because of their color. By the middle of the 1600s, slaves were no longer people. The traders called them black gold. Treated them like a commodity.
We came chained 2 by 2, left leg to right leg, from 1,000 villages and towns. Hausas, Mandingos, Yorubas, Igbos, Afiks, Krus, Fantine, Ashantis, Dahomians, Benis, Senegalese.
His name was Olanda Equiana, but he was called Gustavus Vassa. He wrote how he had been captured at the age of 11.
We were like books on a library shelf, with not so much room as a man in a coffin. The shrieks of the women and the groans of the dying made the whole scene a horror almost inconceivable. I would not eat, so they beat me. I could talk to no one, because I could not understand any of the African languages around me. Could find no one from my own nation.
He was forced to march with hundreds of others for 500 miles, across rivers, mountains, barefooted and naked, to be packed into the hold of a slave ship, separated from people of his own nation.
We had to separate them so they couldn't talk to each other. Mixed up the nations, or the blacks would be able to talk and get together, mutiny and destroy the ship's crew in hopes to get away. I tell you, the slave trade was a dangerous business.
There are records of more than 100 successful slave revolts on the high seas. Men do not submit easily to chains, but their chains are not so easily broken either. Despite the resistance, the slave trade prospered because white men demanded hands to work the wide rolling lands of America so they could profit from sugar, cotton, rice. They bought these hands and worked them to the limits of human endurance, providing only a minimum of food, clothing, and shelter. What would you do if you were turned from human being into another man's property and treated like a beast of the fields? How would you feel?